We are Built Network for the strong, not the weak.
No escaping this. 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 No escaping this.
No one's ready to deal with us.
No escaping this. No escaping this. No escape.
No one's ready to deal with us.
No escaping this. No escaping this. No escape.
No one's ready to deal with us.
No escaping this. No escaping this. No escape.
No one's ready to deal with us.
You are listening to the End of the Bench podcast on Built for This Network, hosted by my man HRap.
Wings to Fly is a children's book about gaining confidence and working to succeed, told from the perspective of a young girl who loves to play basketball. She is often left out by her teammates until she meets her guardian angel who teaches her that success takes perseverance. Wings to Fly is a great read for all children. I would highly recommend this book. If you would like to make a purchase, please click on the link in my description box below.
Will come together to tackle one of the city's biggest problems, crime, more specifically, black-on-black crime.
Black-on-black crime.
Black on black crime.
Black-on-black crime.
Black on black crime. You can find it in almost any major city like Chicago, New York, or LA. But Chattanooga is nowhere near the size, nor has the population of those cities. Yet violent crimes by African Americans against each other in Chattanooga, it's just as bad. In part 1 of his special report, Eric Avier takes a deep look into black on black crime and its effect on the African American community. He joins us live in the studio to explain. Eric.
The term black on black crime is a myth, and I cringe every time I hear that term. Do you know who some of the early gangsters were? Al Capone, born in 1899. Pretty Boy Floyd, born in 1904. John Dillinger. The early gangsters were the Irish gangs. But they attach this negative to us, black on black crime, as if we're somehow morally deficient, or we're born these violent animals. But do you know where crime happens? In poverty-stricken areas. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin. During the early days of television, they held congressional hearings to figure out what type of images they wanted to attach to black people. What type of stereotypes? Whatever we put out there is what the people are going to run with. And they knew it would work. Any areas of poverty, the crime rate will increase. As I've stated in other videos, like the video on the war on drugs, and the videos about the crack era. You take a man, you strip away his resources, you strip away his ability to feed his family, and crime is gonna happen. Even myself, as a law-abiding citizen, if I can't legally feed my family, I will commit crimes. And it's just as simple as that. Now, don't get this twisted and thinking I'm saying just because there's black people committing crimes that we should be able to get away with it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm talking about is the narrative of black on black crime. When we use these white talking points, we hurt us as a people. You have to understand the propaganda. the narrative that they're pushing. So when a cop slaughters one of us, and there's melanated people who publicly go out and say, well, what about black on black crime? How come y'all not marching when black folks kill black folks? How come y'all not raising hell and rioting when black folks kill black folks? And that's a lie. That's false. And you're falling right into their narrative.
It's being on the street in any American ghetto where the black on black crime is a bigger threat and a bigger problem in the black community than the police use of force. So the fact that they continue to focus on this aberration that is the police use of force, it's an aberration. Okay? They have more fear of that than coming across a gang member or being caught in a crossfire like Dwayne Wade's niece was in the city of Chicago, pushing a baby stroller down the street, for heaven's sakes, with a baby in it, and she took shots to the head from two black, long-time career criminals. And so that's why I said it's not based on anything real, it's based on emotion. And if they really took a look at what was going on around them, what they'd be railing against is not the police and the police use of force. The police are down there to protect good law-abiding black people, to protect and serve. But their biggest threat are criminal gangs, and it's other black males who are involved in this crime and violence in numbers that are disproportionate to their representation in the population. But of course, emotion's driving this thing, not reality.
Just in Chicago alone, there's more than 50 Stop the Violent campaigns. There's more than 50 programs. 50. There's always marches. There's always people getting together. But see, this type of stuff don't go viral. This is why you have to do the research.
And I'm reaching out to the Black Lives Matter people. If you really feel Black Lives Matter, come on out when this is happening. You're not around when the blacks are killing blacks. Where are you? We need your resource. We need your funding because black on black crime got to stop. I live in the community. I live in the neighborhood, predominantly black. There's a lot of black on black violence, and it got to stop. And my thing is that Black Lives Matter, please. Black Lives Matter, if you listen, you can do a lot to stop this because you have the money, you have the resources to stop this. Black on black crime got to stop, and it's a mindset.
There's a program called the Dovetail Project. The West Side Cultural Foundation, the Chicago Urban League, Urban Initiatives, Community Organizing Family Issues, Future Ties, Blackstone Bikes, Girls for Science, South Suburban Defenders, A Safe Haven, Becoming a Man, Build Chicago, Chicago Area Project. This is just Chicago alone. Like I said, there's over 50. There's tons of organizations, black organizations, speaking out against violence, fighting violence, and trying to combat violence. So let's get away from this narrative. Let's get away from this whole, y'all ain't never saying nothing when a black person kills a black person. That's false. Outside of areas of poverty, where do you see black on black violence in large numbers? You don't see it because it doesn't exist. Some folks use this rhetoric that black on black crime is a thing. That's not even a real thing because first of all, in America, it's more white people period. You know what that means, America? That more white people commit more crimes, and actually 84% of the white people that kill white people kill white people. We don't talk about white on white crime in the news though. We keep using this rhetoric of black on black crime in it says something is defective with black people. They said folks that is out here and they have behavior issues. Right. It allows people to not address the real issues of poverty in this country. The real issues of mass incarceration in this country. The real issues of corporations profiting off of each and every one of us standing right here. No matter what color you are.
Good evening. It's your man HRap coming at you live and direct. This is the End of the Bench podcast brought to you by Built for This Network. It is a simulcast, and you can see it live on Spreaker.com. Go to Built for This Network. You can see it live on Spreaker.com. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. It has been an interesting week for me, myself, and I. It has been an interesting week, so I have a lot on my mind. I'm going to have to speak fast because due to certain situations, I can't sit up this long. Crazy as that sound, but I'm going to do my very best to do what I have to do to make sure I disseminate the message that I need to get to my folks, because we will not be subjected to the foolishness going forward. Thank each and every one of you for tuning in. And as I usually say, this is a podcast. Why do I say it's a podcast? I'm tired of people walking up to me saying, hey man, I missed the show. No, you didn't. It is impossible, because you can go to Spreaker.com, look it up. You come here to YouTube, look it up, subscribe, go to Spreaker.com, Built for This Network, subscribe, hit the like button, share, do everything you have to do, and then you'll get a notification via email. Or you can go to YouTube, the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, and you will get the exact same notification. Hit like, hit subscribe, then hit the bell, and then hit all, and then you'll get all my notifications. It just happens that way. Or you can go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Castbox, Deezer, Amazon Prime, and Podcast Addict. Any event that you just want to use your most commonly used podcast applications, and then you will be able to get in contact with me and see what I have to say and comment. You can come in live with me on Tuesdays at 5 p.m., which is today, Central Standard Time, and Saturday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time as well. With that being said, next up is that I have to pay homage to my family. Without my family, I wouldn't be here. My ancestors and my living family support me amazingly, as well as a lot of you guys, but I always acknowledge my family, because without my ancestors, I don't be here. Without my family, I wouldn't have the support that I need. That is the Pollard, Turner, Battle, Cotton, Harper, Bailey, Shaw, Thompson, Chris Lansdowne, Liggins, Duncan, and my mother, my father, my brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews. We are the Williams clan. We're in the building. Okay, if you came early, you saw a video. That video is talking about black on black crime. If you've listened to my show for any amount of time, you've heard me rail against that term, black on black crime. The reason I brought it up again today, and I will continue to make it the bane of my existence. We're going to stop that's the title of the show, Build and Destroy, where I'm going to build up the community, destroy the lies and the propaganda about my people. I'm not going to let you assassinate the character of my community anymore. Whoever's doing it, whether you look like me or you don't look like me, you got a problem with me. And that's it. But the thing is, I brought up this black on black crime thing because it annoys the hell out of me. It annoys me to no end, because as you saw that dude, the sheriff that used to be in the town just north of me called Milwaukee. Milwaukee's sheriff was on there talking about the blacks, as if he's not one of us. But That's another thing. If you don't want the jersey on, hey man, you're stuck in it, but you don't have to rep it. I'm good with that. Going over there with the other side, be their whipping boy, be their toy, and I'm cool with that. But what you're not going to do, as the sisters, I hear a lot of sisters say, what you're not going to do is continue to destroy my community with this propaganda. I'm not going for it anymore, and this is why I continue to do this. Look, it'll be another video midway through the show, and then you'll be able to see exactly where I'm coming from. But the reason I brought this up today is we live up to the expectations of other people far too much. And it annoys me. It annoys me to no end. I hate it. I'm tired of it. Why do we not follow our own governance structure? Y'all know I say this every week, and I'm going to continue to say it every week. We have the governance structure. How do you see yourself in the social structure? How does somebody else see you? I don't really care about the social structure. The social structure is irrelevant to me. It's the governance structure. How do you see yourself? And how do you see yourself? It's far too many times that when you get received goods or products from our folks, you have labor done. People go, well, you know how we are. No, I don't know how. I do know how we are. Stop painting with this broad brush, because guess what? That means you go to work and do a half-ass job. That means you didn't raise your kids properly. That means you don't care for your family and friends. So if you don't include yourself in they, don't speak about they, because they is a loud minority. Loud minority. It is not the vast majority of the people that we're dealing with on a regular basis. If you're a quality person, stop assuming that other people that look like you don't give the same effort as you do. Stop allowing people to identify us by the very few people in our community that have decided to take the nefarious route. Or maybe those people didn't have the opportunities. Or maybe they're just not leaders. Now, what we have to do is understand this in humanity. If you were to listen to the forecast last night on BS3 Radio, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time every Monday, you'd have heard my man Dog. He did mention that most people are followers. And that's the honest to God truth. Most people on earth are followers. Everybody cannot be a general. Everybody was not meant to be at the top of the food chain. Now, to be a leader is one thing. To be a follower is something else. But understand, in order to be a good leader, you must know how to follow as well. But that's not the dynamic that I'm speaking about. Just because you have the intestinal fortitude to be a leader, that does not mean, let's just use military format. That does not mean you're built to be a general. You may be built to be a colonel or a sergeant. Those are positions of honor, but a lot of us are not ready to be at the top of the food chain, because if you were ready to be at the top of the food chain, you wouldn't allow people to do what they do. And what I mean by do what they do, that is, look, if you allow people to determine who and what you are as a person, then you have unofficially lost your damn mind. Because no one can step into a space and say, this is who you are. You may only be a sergeant, but a sergeant is key to the development of the people that are under him, as well as the development of people that are over him. The reason being is this. He may be a developer of people, and that may be his call in life. It's not that he has limitations on himself. It's just he's found his niche. If you got a dude who's a mechanic, you don't ask him to do surgery. If you have a dude who's a surgeon, you don't ask him to be a plumber, because that's his lot in life. So stop allowing people. Do you know how obviously, if you are allowing people to determine or identify who you are, you don't realize how powerful this community is. You don't realize even the capabilities of yourself, because every time you turn around and point the finger at somebody else, what you're doing is letting really you looking in the mirror and saying, I can't. So if you're saying I can't, people don't want to understand that because this is my lot in life. I'm not limited. It's just this is my specialty. Doctors can't do what I do. Lawyers can't do what I do. I can't do what they do, but we're not limited. It's just they do what they do better than I do it, and I do what I do better than they can ever do it. So stop assuming, stop taking on these monikers. Oh man, like the man in the video, well, black on black crime. First of all, even before I show you this next video and a little later in the show, realize this. If you have a nefarious idea in your head, you do not sit your black behind around and say, sit your black behind down and say, let me go 25 miles in this direction, commit a crime, and see if I can get all the way home. It's like electricity. You take the path of least resistance when you're participating in nefarious activities. The quickest hit and back to safety. Quickest hit, back to safety. Period. Point blank, in a sentence. So again, I beg of you, when you are walking through the streets of Detroit, Chicago, Los Angeles, Baltimore, Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, and wherever we dominate the landscape, any black community in the United States of America, what I want you to realize is this. There are 15, 16 guys standing on a random corner. Those 15, 16 guys do not represent the 200 or 300 people who are in the house helping their kids with their homework, in the house cooking dinner for their children, in the house getting dressed, getting ready to go to work, or just walked in the house. So please stop identifying yourself by other people's limitations. Please. Please. It is foolish. You are diminishing your own value when you allow somebody to identify who you are. How in the entire hell can somebody on earth define who you are? And a lot of us haven't even taken the time, haven't even slowed that day down and identify who we are. You are not a person who works. You're not a data entry clerk. You're not a computer programmer. You're not a mechanic, a painter, a grocery store clerk. Find out who you are, and then, and only then, will you be able to identify what your purpose is. We've allowed the dominant society to determine who we are for far too long. We can no longer do this. If you want to get out of this nonsense that we're dealing with on a regular basis, cops killing us, women getting sexually harassed at jobs, things of this nature, men getting sexually harassed at jobs, men and women not getting promotions that they determined that they needed or wanted, and they've been overlooked. Like the time Ian Simons got overlooked. I got overlooked by Ian Simons, and he wasn't half as qualified as I was. But instead of getting mad, I just found something else to do. See, I understood who I was a long time ago due to Dolores and that heart. That's my mother. My mother put so much confidence in me and my family that it would be ridiculous. It's to the point where I could literally watch someone do open heart surgery. If I watched it 4 or 5 times, I would literally turn to you and say, I probably can do that. What I need you to do going forward is put that exact same confidence into yourself. Stop speaking negatively, even in a joking fashion, about yourself, because there are no limits to what you can do when you find your niche. Now, are you going to be the best singer in the world, the best dancer in the world, the best musician in the world, the best IT person in the world, a doctor, a lawyer? Maybe or maybe not. But there is something that you can do to the point where somebody will pay you for it. Period. There is no more these situations out here where you are less than. We're going to remove, this is the purpose of this show. We're going to remove doubt from everybody who's tuning in, and you are going to pour that same confidence into somebody else. That's what we're going to do. And if you keep allowing that damn idiot box called a television to identify who and what you are about, you would be a victim of that idiot box. And in essence, you would be the idiot that they're talking about when they call it an idiot box. You can no longer allow people to determine if you're going to be happy or sad. There are no bad. You have never had a bad day. You've never had a bad day. Try missing one. It's coming up on 11 years from the day I lost my mother. That wasn't even a bad day for me. It was a bad few hours, and then I realized everything that I received from my mother, and it just wasn't sad anymore. You have bad moments. You have bad instances. You don't have bad days, hours, months, years. Though That's the way the people who control the country, who control the world, have programmed you to believe that you're having a bad day. If you drop dead, that's the worst day you can have. It don't get any badder than that. So if you don't drop dead, you got a shot at the mouth. If you get up and you are you're able to physically and or mentally get through the day without hurting yourself and without having to hurt someone and end up incarcerated or something of that nature, don't count that as a bad day. You had a rough few hours, and then your emotions settle down, and now it's time for you to hit the reset button and move forward and get your shit together. Excuse my profanity. I'm trying to cut that out of my program. But I'm telling you, it is no more this nonsense. We're not doing this anymore. Stop letting people determine who you are. And speaking of this, the sexual harassment thing, we will damn each other to no end when we do something wrong. But you got the governor of New York and he sexually harassed 7 women when this thing was on Bill Cosby. They put a new case on Robert Kelly, and Bill Cosby did 3 years in jail for basically double jeopardy, and it was on television every day. How many of y'all know about Governor Cuomo in the state of New York and his sexual harassment ventures? You don't. But when you or let me get on here and say, when I continue to build my platform, let me get on here and say something that is inflammatory or what somebody deems disrespectful. You've heard more about this dude, the baby, and him saying whatever the hell he said than the governor of New York. Then the governor of New York sexually harassed people, and he literally came on TV and said, hey, well, it's a different culture. I just hug and kiss people. There's never been a time in the history of the world walking up to a woman and kissing her is cool without her permission. If this is not your significant other or a relative, keep your damn lips off people, man. But we're not hearing about this. But what we do, get this, we make Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook what it is. And when one of us does something wrong, you see legions of our brothers and sisters posting, commenting, and denigrating whoever broke the law. But how many times have you opened up Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram and seen something about this pedophile Woody Allen? Because if you married the woman that you adopted, don't tell me you waited till you were 18 but you don't hear about Woody Allen. OJ is the poster boy for killing your wife. Well, Robert Blake had a similar situation a few years later. But you don't hear about Robert Blake. And you don't hear about Governor Cuomo, but you hear about Bill Cosby. And I'm not absolving anyone from any crime or criminal activity, but I'm just letting you know, stop being public about our damn family business. Because at one point, we wouldn't talk about it. Now, we might talk about it at the cookout. You might talk about it at the hairdresser. You might talk about it at the barbershop. You might talk about it with the homies in the garage. But in the event that something nefarious happened or something that was shameful happened, we talked about family businesses amongst family. Stay the hell off social media, because what you're doing is teaching the people who hold the keys to this, to hold the rules to the game, how to play the game and cheat us out of anything else that we want coming forward. Because when you express yourself and tell people how emotionally you are involved with something, what you actually done is tell somebody who's diametrically opposed to your happiness how to keep you unhappy. Yeah. How to keep you unhappy. Because when you speak your mind on social media, it ain't just about you. They using those same emotional triggers and using it against everybody else. Now, is everybody the same? No, but a lot of us, we move in the same way. So if you do something like that, then next thing you know, they're going to do it to you, and they're going to do it to me, and they're going to do it to enough people to get to trigger responses. And even if you're not triggered by those things, you're triggered by your brothers and sisters. Now, we're debating. We sitting online debating about if Bill Cosby and R. Kelly is wrong, when, hey, that's their damn business. Because you know what? Bill Cosby potentially accosting those women, and R. Kelly potentially accosting those young ladies. have nothing to do with me and my friends, brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles. They don't have nothing to do with us. So why are we in public talking about it? See, this is how they get you to infight. And then they get dummies like the former sheriff up in Milwaukee to sign up with them. Dummies like Jason Whitlock, like Smith on ESPN. And then there are dozens and dozens and dozens of others that pretend that they are standing up for righteousness. How could you possibly be standing up for righteousness in a place in which they destroyed a whole nation of people, 300 million people, to establish this, and then they brought your black behind over here, you and your ancestors over here, and spread you out the spread you throughout the Americas and enslaved you as well. But now you're going to look at those people and tell them that you got to stand it. Makes no sense. It makes no sense. Stop allowing other people to shape your perception of your community. Like when this the propaganda about people from other continents and other countries. Oh man, the Africans don't like us. So you talk to a billion people from the damn continent and none of them like you. Foolish. You don't even know an African. You know, yeah. I know one or two. But don't tell he didn't like you. And maybe you're not a likable person. So stop allowing people to determine who you are. And then and only then will you be able to establish yourself and your foothold in this world, this country, this place, and this style of living. Otherwise, man, you're more destructive than a drug dealer. You're more destructive than a drug addict. You're more destructive than anything in the world because you're spreading propaganda that has no basis. That's my opinion. Opinions like elbows. Everybody got two arms, and they only use them for the people that they're connected to. If your opinion is not based on facts, keep it to yourself. No one cares. Back it up. And if need be, you know how to get at me. At HRap_B on Instagram and or Twitter. I will get at you. Not a problem. Not a problem. But we have no choice but to stop buying into the propaganda, because every time you buy into the propaganda, you make it easier. What you do is you're continuing to pass this down. Just like if I do one thing, if I turn one of your opinions tonight, I've done my job. But the people who are speaking negatively about our community, if they sign up one person to believe in them, they've done their job. So now I got to get to it. But if I turn you and you turn somebody else, we can be a better community. I don't care about the American experience anymore. I really don't. I care about the black experience. The African diaspora is my number one goal. I want to unite us over here, the ancestors of the enslaved people of Africa. And then we're going to unite with the Africans, and then we're going to be okay. Otherwise, now, I want to talk about this vaccine thing. This vaccination thing is pissing me off. I don't care if you are or are not vaccinated. I really don't care, because you know what? I don't remember anybody asking somebody if they had an HIV test. Do you ask your friends about HIV tests? Because people die from HIV and AIDS every day. When the last time you talked to one of your friends about a damn prostate exam or breast cancer or what is it, a mammogram? But we sitting around arguing about this. Look, offer people some solutions and walk away. If they choose not to do it, protect yourself. Period. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, I got my man Steve. He's gonna come on with some health and wellness work, and we are gonna offer you these things. But for you to sit around and call people stupid, either whatever side of the fence they're on, that's anti everything. But it's not gonna do you any good to offend a brother or sister for whatever they're doing. Guess what? This vaccination thing is damn near right in front of our faces. Turn it into the gay straight thing, light skin, dark skin, in Chicago, west side, south side. Why are you dividing our community further? If someone does not want to get that vaccination, respect that decision. And if you don't want to be around them until this thing clear up, then do that. But to call somebody stupid if they do or don't get it, if they pray to your God, if they don't, we have enough problems. Why in the entire hell are you buying into the propaganda to destroy our community further? Look, it's cool. You don't want to get it. I understand. I don't want to get it. She does. He don't want to get it. I do. Let people be who they are. That's it. That's all. Mind your own damn business. How about this? Why don't we start offering advice on things like my next topic? This eviction mandate is about to be lifted, and it has been lifted in some states. What you don't know is this. The United States federal government has provided these municipalities and these counties with funds to help you so you won't get evicted. I'm going to need you to call your alderman. I'm going to need you to call your state representative. I'm going to need you to call somebody in the city council. I'm going to need you to look on the website for your city to find out if you're eligible for those funds. Because if you're eligible for those funds, then you don't have to stress the hell out because you think you're going to be homeless in the middle of the winter in Chicago, in the middle of the winter in Buffalo, New York, or any place where it's going to get cold. See, these are the things that we need to be having conversations about. That the fact that the people who are in charge of your city are not on TV every day letting you know that there are funds available, so if you're about to be evicted, they will help you. Why aren't we talking about that? Why are we not talking about that? Why aren't we talking about this? Since everybody want to have this vaccination conversation, why are we not on the phone with the people who are in charge of these lawmakers who are in charge of the country, right? Why are we on the phone with them and seeing how our community, the whole story is, our community is extremely affected by this COVID situation, right? So why aren't we on the phone on the 5 Calls app, the 5 Calls app? Why aren't we using that 5 Calls app to contact our state representatives so that we can make sure we can get some damn health insurance? Why are we not doing that? Why are we not doing that? See, that's a conversation that benefits both parties, because now you can get a physician. You can go to the doctor and get your prostate checked. You can go to the doctor and get medication for your diabetes. You can be treated properly, which leads me to this website, iloveblackpeople.com. iloveblackpeople.com is a site created. It is the 2021 version of the Green Book. If you're not informed on what the Green Book is, the Green Book is this. There used to be a book that was issued once a year. It's a book issued once a year, and our folks, when we traveled throughout the land, we knew where was black-friendly places. Those places where you can go lay your head or you can go get a meal without being accosted by terrorists or what they call hate groups, the Ku Klux Klan, skinheads, these fake ass white supremacists, right? Now, iloveblackpeople.com is the same flavor. They are giving you businesses that are black friendly. They are giving you doctors who are black friendly, restaurants who are black friendly, places that you can go, that you can be comfortable in your own skin. You don't have to worry about people spitting in your food, looking over your shoulder just in case somebody coming in here to harass you or cost you. Like my man Kirby Alexander, he comes in the chat room all the time. He told me right here in Chicago, him and some of his partners went into a neighborhood called Bridgeport. Now, Bridgeport has always been insanely racist. We know it here in Chicago. We understand it. But my man Kirby and his friends made the mistake of assuming that we're in a whole other century. It has to be better. And it wasn't. It wasn't, because he said 12 or 13 white boys came in there and watched them eat their meal and made them uncomfortable. They ate their meal and left. This is what iloveblackpeople.com will steer you clear of these places, because we don't have to be accosted as we eat. We don't have to be disrespected as we eat. We don't have to be made to feel less than as we give people our money. These are the things we have to do. We also need to and my girl Hoodie House said, Bridgeport has not changed. Exactly, it hasn't changed. So we don't have to be subjected to this nonsense. So please go to iloveblackpeople.com, and if you find a place that, and these are not only black people, these are not just black establishments, these are black friendly establishments. These are black friendly establishments. So if you respect my community, we're going to respect you by spending money with you. And if you don't, we won't. Point blank, period, end of the story. That's how it ends. That's how it begins. And that's how it's going to be. Or you can also use Official Black Wall Street, OBWS. Go to your app store, go to your Apple store. OBWS, Official Black Wall Street, is an orange app. Download it. Anytime you drive past a black establishment, it will send you a notification. You'll get a ping, and it will send you a notification. And those are the places we need to plant our money. Our ancestor John Lewis said right before he passed, we need to start getting into some good trouble. And good trouble is not protesting. What you do is you protest in a different way. You don't have to stand in line and no more of that. Remove your money. That's the greatest protest in the history of the world. This is why we must do what we have to do and stop paying attention to the nonsense, foolishness, and the damn foolery that we've been subjected to. Period. Point blank, period. You don't have to deal with anything that you don't want to. And if you choose to, that's your hard ass luck. No more of this crying. No more dealing with nonsense that you don't have to deal with. We're not going to do that anymore. What we're going to do is organize. And you get you a block club president. And then you get you somebody who's going to be in a situation to whereas when someone needs to speak to someone in your community, they speak to that person. And when they speak to that person, that's when you find yourself in the best possible situation. And when you find yourself in the best possible situation, you get results. And when you get results, change comes. And when change comes, things get better for you, your children, your grandchildren, and your grandchildren's children. That's the way. We're not going to do it the old way, the civil rights way. We're not going to do that anymore because that way does not work because you are appealing to animals at that point. And if you want to think that I'm categorizing one community or two communities or 10 communities as animals, go right ahead. Again, I told you, I'm not going to clarify my thoughts to you anymore because we both know that there are people that walk the face of the earth that have preconceived notions that have been taught for generation after generation after generation that they think they're better than you and things of that nature. And those are the people I'm talking about. And then, and like I said, I showed you earlier in the video, it's people and this community that think that way. And again, we cannot put any energy into, I'm going to change your mind. I'm going to check you. Stop checking people. Stop giving people a piece of your mind. Why? That next time, that's like looking in the air, talking about I need a drink of water and waiting on a cup to come out of it. You're not changing nobody's mind. People have to change on their own. If they don't want to change, they're not going to change. So stop. I'm going to show you. I'm going to check you. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. For what, people? You can use that energy to improve your community. Get garbage receptacles at the end of each corner. And then some simple, get your roads paved. And then after you get your roads paved, then you get the schools improved. And then you'll start realizing that you own the power. And you'll realize why the Democratic Party and the Republican Party focus on getting our community to pay attention to them every election. And then they put out propaganda. Well, black people don't vote, but we need the black vote. If we don't vote and we only make up 13% of the population, why the hell do you need us? Because they are telling you every election that you are the most powerful force in this country. We are not minorities. Like I told y'all 2 weeks ago, it's 111 million Russians in Russia. 111 million Russians in Russia. It's 67 million Germans in Germany. It's 65 million English in English. It's 11 million Irish in Ireland. And it's 50 million people who are ancestors of the enslaved right here in America. So how in the hell are we the minority and those people came over here just like we did? Well, not like we did. They are transplants and we were accosted and brought here. So how are we the minority? Stop living life through the eyes of the people that don't like you. Please stop. What I'm going to do now is again show you the rest of it. It's part 2 of the video that I started to show off with. If you want to see the other video, go back to the start of the show. It's about an 8-minute video, and it's part 2 of this. It is important that you see things like this so we can start reprogramming ourselves to love ourselves, and then we can build the community that we want to live in.
Wings to Fly is a children's book about gaining confidence and working to succeed, told from the perspective of a young girl who loves to play basketball. She is often left out by her teammates until she meets her guardian angel who teaches her that success takes perseverance. Wings to Fly is a great read for all children. I would highly recommend this book. If you would like to make a purchase, please click on the link in my description box below.
Will come together to tackle one of the city's biggest problems, crime, more specifically, black-on-black crime.
Black-on-black crime.
Black on black crime.
Black-on-black crime.
Black on black crime. You can find it in almost any major city like Chicago, New York, or LA. But Chattanooga is nowhere near the size, nor has the population of those cities. Yet violent crimes by African Americans against each other in Chattanooga, it's just as bad. In part 1 of his special report, Eric Aubinier takes a deep look into black on black crime and its effect on the African American community. He joins us live in the studio to explain. Eric.
Crime is crime. What is white on white crime? What is Asian on Asian crime? What is Hispanic on Hispanic crime? So none of these other groups of people is associated with crime. See, I want you to see the problem in this. With anybody else, it's just crime. But with us, it's black on black crime. We are automatically connected to crime. The first American street game was called the Dead Rabbits. This was an Irish game located in Lower Manhattan, New York. Now this was in the mid-1800s. And back then, they were robbing people and committing murders. If we are somehow morally deficient and somehow born these criminals, then how come all of the early gangs were white folks, or what we consider white folks? As I said, in areas of poverty, the crime rate will rise, and gangs will rise. A report released by the U.S. Department of Justice found that violent crimes committed over the last few years were by black people, and 63% of those were committed against other black people. This is in comparison to 44% of all violent crimes committed by white people, and 57% of those were committed against other white people. According to this data, white people commit crimes against other white people at about the same rate. But despite these numbers, we aren't talking about white-on-white crime. According to a separate 2014 Justice Department report, people living in households below the poverty level had more than double the rate of violent crimes. Poor black people and poor white people committed crimes at similar rates. 46.4 for white people and 43.4 for black people, which is a clear connection to poverty.
Black on black crime is not a thing. Intra-community crime is. And only one community's crimes are held out as a moral failing. The reality is, where there's poverty, where there's hopelessness, there's crime.
It's been that way throughout the history of man. We know this, yet as a society, we offer nothing but condemnation and judgment as a way out. Ask yourself why. Outside of areas of poverty, you don't see that. So, if we were somehow born violent, born killers, born morally deficient, how come in other areas, black folks ain't slaughtering each other? There's very upscale areas that's predominantly black, where black people aren't killing each other. David Wilson, a geography professor at the University of Illinois, says that the term black-on-black crime really took off in the early 1980s. As he explains in his book from 2005, Inventing Black-on-Black Violence. The Chicago Tribune ran a multi-part news report that framed urban violence squarely as a problem born of black youth. Just us. And black-on-black crime became an effective vehicle for the rise of Reaganism.
By the way, you know who overwhelmingly commits crimes against white people? White people at almost identical rates, because crimes are carried out due to proximity. But we don't say white on white crime, do we? Blacks rob blacks, Latinos rob Latinos, Asians rob Asians, whites rob whites, and on and on and on. But we only hear about one, making it seem as if the community itself isn't concerned about crime, and nothing could be further from the truth. But the real flaw in this argument is the simple fact that when a black person commits a crime against another black person, or a white person against another white person, and so forth, that person faces justice. Something that happens less than 1% of the time when the perpetrator is a cop. It's not just that police brutality exists, it's also there's little to no accountability for it. And I don't think the police or anybody making this argument would be agreeable to applying the same standard of crime and punishment to those who protect and serve as we aggressively do to black and black crime.
Welcome back. It's your man HRap coming at you live and direct. This is a podcast brought to you by Built for This Network. Again, Built for This Network. Go to Spreaker.com, subscribe to Built for This Network. And if you're looking at me on YouTube right now, I need you to hit the like button. I need you to hit the subscribe button. I need you to hit that bell, and it's going to pull up and it's going to say, all I need you to do that. It does me a tremendous favor. Thank you. But back to what I was saying, man. As you heard, we are not inherently violent. And stop buying into it. We are not inherently lazy. We're not inherently anything but genius. Because if you listen to my show, you know about this thing called epigenetics. Epigenetics means things that are passed to you through your ancestors. Sometimes it's trauma, sometimes it's genius. In most cases, it's genius. But again, if you don't take the time to identify what you're good at and who you are and your purpose, then you've wasted everybody's time in the history of the world. I'm going to say that again. You've wasted everybody's time in the history of the world because you are not doing your community the favor that it needs. That brings me to relationships. The only way we can get out of this mess that we're in currently is relationships. Hopefully, I am endearing you with information that you didn't have and empowering you with that information and puts you in a position to you can enhance someone else's life by giving them the information I've given or you and them put your heads together, and guess what happens? You bring something positive to the fight, right? Now, if that's what you're doing, then great. But that's because you've established a relationship with me. Every Tuesday, you're here. Every Saturday at 5, you're here. Or at some point throughout the week, you've gone to one of the outlets that got caught up to speed with my programs. And if you're doing that, thank you very much. It is much appreciated, right? Now, that's a relationship. I'm going to get information from HRap. Then I'm going to use that information as fuel and or motivation so I can do something. And then when I do something, that's going to trigger. These are the relationships. And guess what? When you hit that like, you've done me a solid. These are the relationships that we must continue to build. I need you to go to Facebook and look up Trade Naturals. Subscribe to that page and purchase some goods from her. Because she is reaching out to black folks who want their hair straight, but you don't want chemicals. You don't want lye in your hair. You don't want other chemicals that at some point it has a lot of us going bald. That's all you have to do. It's skin products. It's bath products. It's beard butter. It's 1,000,005 things in which you have to do in order to that you go to Walgreens and CVS and what's Piggly Wiggly or wherever you go to spend your money to buy healthy skin products and hair products. You can shop with that person, and there's 1,000,000 other people to do it. So I need you to do that as well, because as we do those things, we build a community. We continue to build relationships, and then guess what? You come up with a book or a product, and then you reach out to me and say, hey, I need you to promote this. That's another relationship we built. Me having Phil Dixon on the show, on that story, me having Screw Jackson, me having all those rappers on the show, for everyone from, it doesn't make a difference. I've had dozens of rappers on here. I had former athletes on here. Those are relationships, and now I can use those relationships to get to other people, and those people will help me bring in other people, and their stories hopefully will enlighten you. And when those stories enlighten you, you will go out and do something. This is what we have to do. We don't have an option. We've gotten into this foolish mentality of thinking that you have to like people in our community. All you have to do is respect other people. People don't like you. Just as many people as you don't like, it's 3 or 4 people going, I don't like him, I don't like her. I don't give a damn if you like me. Come in, listen. If it's beneficial, chew up the meat, spit out the bones. I hate HRap, but what he said worked. That's all I need. And I need us to get into a situation to whereas that's what we're doing on a regular basis. I don't need another damn friend. I need a black man or a black woman or a black young adult or a black child to be enriched with what I'm saying. Hate me, like the message. I'm not a perfect messenger. I try to hand out a perfect message. That's it. Because guess what? It's some things that I know that'll be beneficial to you and vice versa. Let's work together, because if we don't, we will continue to have people mistreat us. And the people who are mistreating us are the lawmakers here in Springfield, Illinois. That's the capital of my state, and the lawmakers in Washington, D.C. If you think for 5 seconds the people in D.C. give a damn about you, you are officially outside of your damn mind. How is it possible? Just look, Nancy Pelosi, worth $114 million. Mark Warner out of Virginia, he's worth $200 million. How could those two people possibly understand what it is to get up and go to work and make your money? If you count your money by hour, if you say, hey man, I make $21 an hour, that means they don't understand your struggle. They don't. They don't understand making $40,000 a year, $42,000 a year. If you wonder how I got to that number so fast, you work 2,080 hours a year. You get paid for if you don't miss a day, you get paid for 2,080 hours a year. So multiply that by what you make per year, per hour, and that's what you made that year. Period. But if you think they understand making $40,000 a year, $42,000 a year, you crazy. How could somebody who's worth $114 million, they spend $40,000 potentially on a vacation, on a car, and you think they understand? How could they possibly understand? That's why all these bills get dragged through the mud and argued and all this nonsense, because it's people on the left and on the right, the imaginary left and right, because that's like saying the left and right side of your pants. It's the same group of goofballs, because they go to the same country clubs, their kids go to the same schools, and that's why they can take, those are relationships. How could you possibly be friends with someone who does not understand the concept of this dude is broke because, or that woman is in trouble because, or that one man is in trouble and this person is here, this woman is here? If you don't understand the struggle, how the hell could you possibly create a plan to fix it? I don't understand the struggle of alcoholism. So how in the hell could I possibly write a plan to help alcoholics? What you may need to do is involve an alcoholic, a recovered alcoholic or recovered drug addict, and they can help you understand the concepts. But that is not what's going on in Congress. That's why that damn eviction mandate is lifted. And then I know it's some people that are here that go, well, they should have been. Hey, shut the hell up. Please knock it off. Stop. But a person who's worth $200 million, unless they LeBron James or LeBron James or one of these athletes who've come from nothing, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's standing outside selling watches and all kinds of foolishness to put food on his table. He understands the struggle. So those are the people that we need to get behind. But this is why you must build a relationship. Here's another reason. Today, the United States federal government passed a $1 trillion a bill, a $100 trillion bill for infrastructure. An infrastructure bill. That's what I was struggling to get out of my mouth. An infrastructure bill. And this is why we need relationships, because it's some of us that know how to lay tar. There's some of us that know how to lay asphalt. And we could be teaching our friends and family members and people who had nefarious past. Let's say you are a person who spent some time in an institution of correction, or basically that's a prison, because they're not correcting anything. They just want you to be in there so they can get their $40,000 a year. They're not correcting a damn thing. But if you had a person who has a criminal background in your family and you teach them a trade, when they come through with this infrastructure bill, you can be a laborer or something of that nature, but that's at the bottom of the barrel. When you go to these construction sites, you see very few people who look like this. You see from African descent, from enslaved descent. We're not there. We're not represented because we don't create relationships so we can rebuild these homes, these dilapidated homes in our community. Like it's the city not far from my hometown here in Chicago, Gary, Indiana. They selling dilapidated homes for $1. They're selling homes for $1. $1, and it's under contingency of you rehabbing that house. But if you teach your cousin, uncle, niece, and nephew how to rehab property, you can create a business rehabbing properties. These are the relationships we need to have. And then we can create jobs and get in on this $1 trillion. Hey, if it's only 50 million of us, maybe we only need 500 million of those dollars to change everything. And don't start with the self-doubter. They're not going to let you do that. They didn't let people in Wilmington, North Carolina, Liberty City. I say it every week. It's like a broken record. They didn't limit our ancestors from 100 years ago. So how can they limit you when you can do coding, billing? You can go just like you're on YouTube now. Go to one of these things and learn how to code. Learn how to code. Learn how to do Microsoft Word. Learn how to do Excel. You can learn those things. Guess what? Let's say you were a waitress. You are a waitress or a waiter. or a hostess at a restaurant. Hell, if you work the register at McDonald's, what you can do is this. What you can do is this. You can go online, create you a LinkedIn page. You can go to YouTube, find out how to use Word, find how to use Excel, and then start. Do you understand there are some customer service working from home jobs? You have been a customer service specialist the whole time you worked at a restaurant, because who deals with customers better than a damn server, a hostess? Who deals with people better than that? Because you got to almost kiss behind to get a tip to make ends meet. So guess what? Now you can sit right at your computer like I'm doing, go create a profile on LinkedIn, put down and apply for every customer service job you can find. And then take the test on LinkedIn. I know Excel, I know PowerPoint, I know Word, and guess what? You're a customer service specialist. You went from making $12 an hour to making $55,000 a year. You see what I'm saying? And how did you get that information? Because you've created a relationship with me. So if you could get that tidbit from me, just imagine what the dude next door, the lady next door, the older gentleman across the street could teach you. The people who've watched you live there and you don't even speak to them every day. Just imagine what you can learn from them. We must use what we have to get where we need to be. We do. And again, this is why I keep telling y'all, I don't believe in the whole election process simply because those people don't represent us. They don't give a damn about us. And because they don't give a damn about us, guess what? They're not going to fight for us. But if we train our teenagers, our young adults, and our very small kids to get in that fight, guess what happens? They go in there like that sister who started off a protester. Now she's a congressperson. And now she's sleeping in front of the Capitol because she's trying to understand how in the entire hell does Congress go on vacation when this damn eviction mandate is about to be lifted. And guess what's on the horizon? Hey, look at this. Seemed like it was winter 5 minutes ago. And it's almost fall again. So that's how fast people are going to be getting put out their houses. And if you can do something, if we can get ready to do something, and if we can get ready before the nonsense happens, you're cool. Go to, where all those people are getting those PPP loans? That's the Small Business Association. Do you understand that there are over $3 billion in contracts on there? And all you have to do is bid for them, and you fool around and get the funding to start your own business. They got contracts. You secure a $3 million contract. Guess what? You also have the means. All you have to do is follow their instruction, and then you have a means to an end. You've created your own business. The man in Baltimore started counting the COVID cases for the government. The hospital sends him the numbers, and guess what? Now he's counting the cases, and he's probably making $200,000 or $300,000 a year. This is called relationship building. Network, as my friend Denise Milk and Cookies just said. But if you are not willing to do it because you don't like somebody, I'm not going down to that office because I don't like her. Well, you gonna be them Miss Meal cramps gonna kick you in the ass. Because it ain't nothing like being hungry. If we watch TV, we all like TV. James Evans said it. If you made a list of things to be, poor and sick will be right over dead. And if you get sick and you poor, you're gonna die. So use these resources. We're gonna have to start working together to get people out of these bad situations. Everybody is not as astute as you, but you know what? You know somebody that can write a business program, and they sitting around like, yeah, I can do that. I mean, a business plan, excuse me. Yeah, I can do that, but they may be lazy or unmotivated. So you motivate them to do it so you and them can get paid, and then you might know somebody who can fix things. You know something. God didn't make any blanks. Everybody can do something. Everyone in the world can do something. So you can either continue to complain about the man and all this, or we can start working together. You can tell people to tune in, and you can tell people to reach out to me, and we can get them on the show, and they can tell you how to do other things, and we can learn together and move forward and create another Black Wall Street, and we can create 50 of them, and we all could be wherever we need to be with the support we need. Please. And stop saying black people don't have business or we don't support each other. Well, if you black, I'm quite sure you're not going to Supercuts and Bo Ricks and them places you see on TV to get your hair cut. It's a black person doing your hair. You ain't getting them damn chicken wings from white people because it's some black people at the Harrods. There's some black people at the Uncle Remus. There's some black people at them corner stores. So, if you want to see the support of the black community, I'm going to need you to support people too. I'm going to need you to start speaking. Nod your head. Open the door and just say hello. Stop buying into the nonsense and the nonsense will dissipate. And with that being said, I'm out. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, I need you to go to Build for This Network on Spreaker.com or go to one of these places and subscribe to Build for This Network. Please subscribe to Build for This Network on Spreaker.com, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, or Podcast Addict. Or if you have Amazon Prime, you can do it there. Then I want you to hit the subscribe button right here. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the alerts button, the bell. Go to all. Use all. That way you'll get an alert. I ain't got to send you so many notifications. But I want to thank you. And I need you to make the effort. Effort is all we need. We don't need anybody. My man Ray the Kev, who I'm going to have on the show soon, he said it best. We want reparations, but damn your reparations. Because if we rebuild our communities, everybody's going to do what we do. They follow us. The whole rap music, R&B music. You ask just about anybody in the world, name they top 5 entertainers, and the entertainment going to look like this. Or at one point look like this. Talk about our ancestor, Michael Jackson. Period, man. You love the athletes. Your favorite athlete look like us. Your favorite singer look like us. Your favorite music is created by us. Everything you do and love comes from us. So if that's the case, and you believe that to be the case, you need to enhance your gift and move forward. Again, thank you for tuning in, man. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And as I do every week, I tell you who I get my inspirations from. I get my inspirations from a lot of people. And here go a few. The Ghetto Boys podcast by my man Willie D and Scarface. I get it from Tariq Nasheed, Nori, Talib Kweli, Ray Grady, Zoe Williams, Corey Holcomb, Craig Smith, Al Sharpton, Sister Heather B, my brother Clay Kane, Larry Daniel Favors, our elder Joe Madison, Baba Greg Carr, and Queen Mother Karen Hunter. I want to say salute to all of them. I want to thank each and every one of you who participated in the show, whether you be in the chat room, whether you hit the like button, whether you're on Spreaker.com and listening live. Come back later if you want to hear it again. And remember, if you missed the beginning of the show, it is a gem at the start of the show. Please go back and listen to it. Now, I want to thank you again for tuning in. I'll be back Saturday with another gem, hopefully. I'll come up with something to talk about, right? Rub my mouth all the time. That's what I do. With that being said, man, I want to say salute to everybody who was in the chat room. Salute to everybody who paid attention. SOS. Fawn is in the building. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in, man. And as I close out every show, I say dream those dreams. I salute Reggie O'Shea. We call him the pod father in hip hop. He has transitioned. He's an ancestor now, but we got mad love for him. And as he used to say, I do this because he used to say this at the end of all his shows: dream those dreams and man up and woman up and live those dreams. It's life with dreams flows in black and white. Life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in technicolor and surround sound. I always end it that way because I want to show Reggie, aka Combat Jack, mad love, and I want to show you some love by saying, The world works like this. Either you do something or something will be done to you. 2 fingers, 1 word. It's your man HRap, and I am out.